Marcus Blake sat in his black sports car, stuck in downtown Phoenix traffic. The billionaire tech owner drummed his fingers on the steering wheel. He was late for another board meeting, but that was nothing new. At 45, Marcus ran one of the biggest technology companies in America. His days were always packed with meetings, phone calls, and decisions that moved millions of dollars. The traffic light turned red again. Marcus sighed and looked around at the busy street. Hot Arizona sun beat down on the sidewalks. People walked quickly, trying to escape the heat. Street vendors sold cold drinks from small carts. The city never stopped moving, just like his life. Then, he saw her. The bus stop across the street stood a woman who made his heart skip a beat. Even from a distance, he knew that face, Lisa Washington. His college girlfriend from 15 years ago? The woman he had loved more than anyone else in the world. The woman he had walked away from when his business started taking off. Marcus squinted through his windshield. Lisa looked older now, but still beautiful. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore a blue uniform that looked like she worked at a hospital or clinic. Next to her stood 3 young boys. The oldest boy looked about 12. He had the same dark eyes as Marcus, the same square jaw, the same way of standing with his shoulders straight and proud. The middle boy was maybe 10 years old. He was shorter, but had the same thick eyebrows that Marcus saw in the mirror every morning. The youngest boy looked 8 or 9. He was thin and small, but when he turned his head, Marcus saw his own stubborn chin. Marcus felt his hands shake. These boys looked exactly like him when he was their age. The resemblance was too strong to be a coincidence. These had to be his sons. Sons he never knew existed. The traffic light turned green, but Marcus did not move. Cars behind him started honking their horns. He pulled over to the side of the road, not caring about the angry drivers passing by. His mind raced with questions and memories. 15 years ago, Lisa had tried to call him several times after their breakup. His assistant had told him that an ex-girlfriend kept calling, but Marcus was too busy building his company. He had told his assistant to handle it and never take calls from Lisa again. He thought she just wanted to get back together. He never imagined she might have been trying to tell him something important. Marcus watched as the bus arrived. Lisa helped the youngest boy climb the steps. The older boys followed. They found seats by the window. As the bus pulled away, the middle boy looked out and seemed to stare right at Marcus. For a moment, their eyes met across the street. The boy had the same curious look that Marcus used to have as a child. The bus disappeared around the corner. Marcus sat in his car, feeling like his whole world had just changed. He was one of the richest men in America. He owned a company that built advanced computers and worked with the government on secret projects. He had everything money could buy. But he had just discovered that he had 3 sons he never knew about. Marcus picked up his phone and called his assistant. He told her to cancel all his meetings for the day. Then he called his private investigator, a man who had helped him with business problems before. He needed to know everything about Lisa Washington and those 3 boys. He needed to know if they were really his sons. And if they were, he needed to figure out what to do about it. His life had just become much more complicated than any business deal he had ever made. 3 days later, Marcus had the information he needed. His private investigator had done his job well. The 3 boys were indeed his sons. Kevin Blake Washington was 12 years old. Danny was 10. Alex was 8. Lisa had given them her last name but added Blake as a middle name for all 3 boys. The investigator also gave Marcus their address and school information. They lived in a small apartment complex on the east side of Phoenix. Lisa worked as a nurse at 2 different hospitals. She took the early morning shift at one hospital and the night shift at another. She barely had time to sleep between jobs. Marcus drove to their neighborhood that evening. It was nothing like his expensive house in the hills. The apartment buildings were old and needed paint. The parking lot had cracks in the cement. Kids played in the small playground that had broken swings and rusty slides. He parked across the street and waited. Soon he saw his sons coming home from somewhere. They walked together, talking and laughing. The oldest boy, Kevin, carried a large box that looked heavy. Danny had a backpack that seemed too big for him. Little Alex was holding what looked like a computer tablet. Marcus followed them at a distance. They went behind their apartment building to a small storage shed. Kevin opened the door with a key he kept in his pocket. Marcus moved closer, hiding behind some garbage cans. What he saw inside the shed amazed him. The small space was full of electronic parts, wires, and tools. Kevin was working on what looked like a robot. It was made from old car parts and computer pieces. The robot's arms could move and its eyes lit up with small LED lights. Danny was explaining something to Alex about solar panels. He had built a small power system using old battery packs and solar panels he must have found somewhere. The system was connected to several small devices that were charging. Alex was typing on his tablet, writing computer code. Marcus could see from his hiding spot that the boy was creating some kind of mobile app. The code looked advanced, like something a college student might write. Marcus could not believe what he was seeing. These boys were building things that most adults could not understand. They were using trash and old electronics to create inventions that actually worked. Kevin's robot responded to voice commands. Danny's solar power system was producing enough electricity to charge phones and tablets. Alex's programming skills were clearly beyond his age. The boys worked together like a team. When Kevin needed help with the robot's computer brain, Alex wrote the software for it. When Danny needed small motors for his power system, Kevin took apart old toys to find the right parts. When Alex wanted to test his app, Danny provided the power source and Kevin built a phone holder. Marcus watched them for 2 hours. He saw how smart they were, but also how much they cared about each other. They shared their tools and helped solve each other's problems. They were not just brothers. They were partners. As the sun went down, the boys cleaned up their workspace and locked the shed. Marcus followed them back to their apartment. Through the window, he could see Lisa making dinner in the small kitchen. The family sat around a tiny table to eat. They talked about their day and laughed at Alex's jokes. Marcus sat in his car, feeling a strange mix of pride and sadness. His sons were brilliant, just like him. But they were also happy and close to each other in a way he had never experienced. They had built their own little world of invention and discovery, using whatever they could find. That night, Marcus could not sleep. He kept thinking about the robot, the solar panels, and the computer code. His sons had inherited his love of technology and innovation, but they were doing it without money, without proper tools, and without his help. What could they accomplish if they had real resources and proper education? More importantly, what kind of father had he been to miss the first 12 years of their lives? Marcus spent the next week planning. He could not just walk up to Lisa and tell her he wanted to meet their sons. She would probably slam the door in his face. He needed a different approach. He needed to see what his boys could really do when given proper tools and equipment. Marcus owned Blake Technologies, one of the most advanced research companies in the world. The company worked on secret projects for the government, including space technology and artificial intelligence. He decided to arrange a special school field trip to his main research facility. Marcus called the principal of Roosevelt Elementary School, where his son studied. He offered to sponsor a science field trip for the best students in the school. The trip would be free and include lunch and educational materials. The principal was excited about the opportunity. Marcus made sure that Kevin, Danny, and Alex were selected for the trip. He told his staff that he wanted to find young talent for future internship programs. He did not tell them about his real connection to the 3 boys. On the day of the visit, Marcus watched from his office window as the school bus arrived. 20 students got off the bus, including his 3 sons. They looked small next to the huge glass and steel building. Security guards led them through the main entrance. Marcus joined the tour group in the main lobby. He introduced himself as the company owner and told the children he was interested in finding the next generation of inventors and scientists. Kevin, Danny, and Alex listened carefully but did not seem to recognize him from that day at the bus stop. The tour guide, Dr. Patricia Cole, was Marcus's head of research. She was a brilliant scientist who had multiple degrees in physics and Computer science. Marcus had asked her to make the tour challenging, and to watch for any students who showed unusual ability. The first stop was the robotics laboratory. Dr. Cole showed the students advanced robots that could walk, climb stairs, and even do simple household tasks. Most of the children were impressed but did not ask many questions. Kevin raised his hand several times. He wanted to know about the robot's balance systems and how the joints worked. His questions were so detailed that Dr. Cole looked surprised. The second stop was the Energy Research Center. Danny's eyes lit up when he saw the solar panel testing equipment and the wind power models. He asked about energy storage and how to make batteries last longer. Dr. Cole answered his questions, but Marcus could see she was getting more interested. In this 10-year-old boy who understood complex energy concepts, the third stop was the Computer Programming Center. Alex stood in front of the huge screens that showed complex code and data streams. He asked if he could see the source code for one of the programs. When Dr. Cole showed him a simple example, Alex spotted a bug in the code within minutes. He suggested a fix that would make the program run faster. Dr. Cole looked at Marcus with raised eyebrows. These three boys were asking questions that most college students could not answer. They understood concepts that took years of study to learn. Then, the emergency alarm went off. Red lights flashed throughout the building. A computer voice announced that there was a critical malfunction in the quantum computer laboratory. All tours were canceled immediately. Students and staff needed to evacuate the building, but Marcus knew this was not a drill. The quantum computer was the heart of his most important project. It was developing the technology for humanity's first journey to other star systems. If the computer exploded, it would destroy the entire building and kill everyone inside. Dr. Cole tried to lead the students toward the exits, but Kevin stopped her. "Wait," Kevin said. "What kind of malfunction? Maybe we can help." Dr. Cole looked at the 12-year-old boy like he was crazy. "This is very dangerous. We need to leave now." But Danny was already looking at the emergency displays on the wall. "The cooling system is failing," he said. "The computer is getting too hot." Alex pulled out his tablet and somehow connected to the building's network. "I can see the error codes," he said. "The main program has a feedback loop." Marcus made a decision that would change everything. Instead of evacuating, he led the boys toward the quantum computer lab. If anyone could solve this problem, it might be his three genius sons. The quantum computer laboratory was in chaos. Scientists and technicians ran around trying to fix the problem. Computer screens showed red warning messages. The temperature in the room was rising fast. Marcus could feel the heat even through the protective glass windows. Dr. Cole tried to stop Marcus from bringing the boys into the dangerous area. "Sir, the quantum core could explode at any moment. These children need to evacuate immediately." But Marcus had made his choice. "Give them 5 minutes," he said. "If they cannot help, we will all leave together." Kevin, Danny, and Alex walked into the laboratory like they belonged there. They were not scared by the flashing lights or the loud alarms. Instead, they looked excited by the challenge. Kevin went straight to the main computer console. He studied the displays that showed the quantum core's status. "The problem is not just overheating," he said. "The magnetic field generators are out of sync. That is causing the cooling system to work against itself." Danny found the power distribution panel. He traced the electrical connections with his finger, following the path of electricity through the building. "The backup power system is fighting with the main power grid," he said. "They are sending different voltages to the same equipment." Alex connected his tablet to the laboratory's network. His fingers moved quickly across the screen as he read through thousands of lines of computer code. "There is a software bug in the safety protocol," he said. "The computer thinks it is under attack, so it is shutting down all the cooling systems." The three boys looked at each other. Without speaking, they seemed to understand what needed to be done. They had worked together like this many times in their storage shed, but never with equipment worth millions of dollars. Dr. Cole watched in amazement as the boys began fixing the problems. Kevin manually adjusted the magnetic field generators. bringing them back into proper alignment. His small hands could reach control switches that the adult technicians had trouble accessing. Danny rerouted the power systems, disconnecting the backup generators and letting the main power grid take control. He used his understanding of electrical flow to balance the energy distribution throughout the building. Alex rewrote the safety protocol software in real time. His programming skills allowed him to find and fix the bug that was causing the computer to panic. He also improved the code to make it run more efficiently. The laboratory grew quiet as the warning alarms stopped. The temperature began to drop. The quantum computer's displays changed from red to yellow to green. The core was stable. Again, Dr. Cole stared at the boys with her mouth open. "How did you do that?" she asked. "My team of PhD scientists has been working on this problem for 30 minutes. You solved it in less than 10. Marcus felt a surge of pride that he had never experienced before. These were his sons. They had just saved his most important research project and probably prevented a disaster that could have killed dozens of people. But then Kevin turned around and looked directly at Marcus. The 12-year-old boy's eyes were sharp and questioning. "You're not just some company owner, are you?" Kevin said. "You planned this whole field trip. You wanted to test us." Danny nodded in agreement. "The quantum computer emergency was not random. You knew we could fix it." Alex looked up from his tablet. "And you look familiar. I think I have seen you before." Marcus realized that his sons were not just brilliant with technology. They were also smart enough to figure out when they were being manipulated. He had underestimated their ability to see through his plan. Dr. Cole looked confused. She did not understand what the boys were talking about. But Marcus knew that his time for hiding was over. His sons deserved to know the truth about who he was and why he had brought them here. The other students from the school had been evacuated to safety. It was just Marcus, Dr. Cole, and his 3 sons in the laboratory. The moment he had been both hoping for and dreading had finally arrived. Marcus took a deep breath. There was no going back now. "You are right," he said to his sons. "I did plan this. I needed to see how smart you really are." Kevin crossed his arms. "Why? What do you want from us?" Marcus looked at each of his sons. They were so young, but their eyes showed intelligence beyond their years. "Because I think I am your father." The laboratory became completely silent. Danny's mouth fell open. Alex dropped his tablet. Kevin just stared at Marcus with a hard Mom said he did not want us. Marcus felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. That is not true. I never knew about you. If I had known, I would have been there. Dr. Cole quietly left the laboratory, sensing this was a private family matter. Marcus was glad she was gone. This conversation was hard enough without an audience. Alex picked up his tablet and started typing quickly. Marcus Blake, he said, reading from the screen. Age 45. Went to Arizona State University. Dated Lisa Washington from 2008 to 2010. Danny looked at his older brothers, then back at Marcus. You really are a father? Yes, Marcus said. I found out 3 weeks ago when I saw you at the bus stop with your mother. I hired a private investigator to make sure, but I already knew just by looking at you. Kevin's anger was growing. So you decided to test us like lab rats? You could not just come talk to us like normal people? Marcus realized how wrong his approach had been. I was scared, he admitted. I did not know how to talk to you. I thought if I could prove that you were special, that you had inherited my abilities, then maybe you would want to know me. We're not your science experiment. Kevin said, we are people, we have feelings. Before Marcus could respond, his phone rang. It was Dr. Cole calling from the main control room. Sir, you need to see this immediately. We just received a transmission from deep space. Marcus looked at his sons. Stay here. I will be right back. But Kevin shook his head. If this involves your company and our abilities, we want to know about it too. Marcus led the boys to the main control room. Dr. Cole was standing in front of a huge screen that showed star charts and data streams. Her face was pale with worry. What is it? Marcus asked. We have been monitoring signals from space for years as part of our research, Dr. Cole explained. Today we received a clear message. It is not from Earth. The screen showed a translation of the alien message. Marcus read it out loud so his sons could understand. Warning to the inhabitants of the third planet. You have advanced too quickly. Your technology threatens the stability of this region. Prepare for investigation and possible elimination. Alex looked at the data scrolling across the screen. How far away did this come from? Dr. Cole checked her instruments. The signal originated from approximately 4 light years away. Based on the transmission technology, they could have ships much closer to Earth already. Danny studied the star charts. How long before they get here? If they have faster than light travel, they could arrive within months, Dr. Cole said. Maybe weeks. Kevin was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then he looked at Marcus with a serious expression. "This is why you really brought us here, is not it? You think we can help fight aliens?" Marcus was surprised by his son's insight. "The quantum computer you just fixed is working on humanity's first interstellar travel system. We have been preparing for the possibility that we are not alone in the universe, but we are years away from being ready to defend ourselves or establish colonies on other planets." Alex looked at his brothers. "We solved the computer problem in 10 minutes. How long would it take your regular scientists?" Dr. Cole answered honestly. "Days, maybe weeks. You three working together accomplish something that should have been impossible for children your age." Danny pointed at the alien message on the screen. "If hostile aliens are coming to Earth, then every day matters. We cannot waste time arguing But if humanity is really in danger, then we want to help. Marcus felt a mix of pride and fear. His sons were brave enough to face an alien threat, but they were still just children. He had found them just in time, but now he might lose them to something much more dangerous than a family argument. The quantum computer began beeping with new incoming signals. More alien messages were arriving, and none of them sounded friendly.